Welcome to Fatal Shadows, where we unveil the darkest corners of history's most notorious figures. Today, we dive into the rise and fall of Griselda Blanco, the godmother of cocaine, whose empire was built on blood and narcotics. Join us on this gripping journey through her life of crime and ultimate downfall. Early life and hard knocks of the drug game. Born on February 15, 1943, in Cartagena, Colombia, Griselda's entry into the world of crime was as early as it was brutal. Raised in an abusive household, she found herself thrust into a life of crime and prostitution at a tender age, eventually aligning with the notorious Medellin cartel. It was here that Blanco began her foray into drug trafficking, ingeniously smuggling cocaine into the United States using specially crafted undergarments, laying the groundwork for her empire. By 1973, Blanco had relocated to New York, swiftly establishing a sprawling drug ring. Despite facing intense scrutiny from U.S. law enforcement, which culminated in the largest cocaine bust of its time in 1975, Blanco was undeterred. Fleeing charges, she moved to Miami in the late 70s, where her operations reached unprecedented levels. Her innovative smuggling methods and the violent elimination of rivals not only expanded her empire to Miami, New York, and beyond, but also entrenched her as a key player in the cocaine trade. The Black Widow. The godmother of cocaine. Griselda Blanco, wielding the notoriety of a criminal mastermind, orchestrated an empire that was both formidable in scope and chilling in its execution. With a network sprawling across the Americas, she managed to keep the cocaine flowing through the arteries of New York City's streets by employing multiple sources of supply, a novel concept at the time which laid the foundations for what would become the modern-day cartel. As the head of a large and increasingly violent operation in Miami, Blanco reveled in the sheer power her role afforded her. She fashioned her organization in the mold of the mafia family from the film The Godfather, and in a twisted homage, named her own son, Michael Corleone. She not only assumed the title of La Madrina, the godmother, but fully embraced its dark implications. The drug lord's penchant for murder was notorious, with her henchmen, the pistoleros, initiating their membership through the grisly act of killing and dismembering. This brutal enforcement arm of Blanco's empire would become the harbingers of her preferred method of assassination, notably the motorcycle drive-by shooting, an approach so favored by Blanco that it became a macabre signature of the Medellin cartel itself. Her ruthless elimination of rivals, betrayers, and even debtors was cold and calculated. The infamous Dadeland Massacre in 1979, a bloody altercation at a Miami shopping center, was directly linked to her orders. Her ferocious approach to maintaining supremacy often left the streets of Miami strewn with bodies, the aftermath of her numerous feuds. As the drug trade's climate intensified in Miami, Blanco sought new horizons in California, where the burgeoning demand for cocaine promised even more lucrative profits. In this new haven, she continued to lead a life marked by opulence and indulgence, instilling in her sons the same vicious and corrupt ethos that she embodied. The beginning of the end. Despite her cunning, Blanco's empire began to crumble under the weight of law enforcement pursuit. Her eventual arrest in California in the mid-1980s marked the beginning of her downfall. Facing a myriad of charges, her trial revealed the extent of her criminal endeavors, although her influence was so pervasive that prosecuting her proved challenging. Serving time in prison did little to diminish Blanco's influence initially, as she reportedly continued to oversee her empire from behind bars. She faced a myriad of charges throughout her notorious career in the drug trafficking world. Her criminal activities led to her being charged with multiple serious offenses, which included drug trafficking. Blanco was primarily charged with orchestrating large-scale cocaine shipments from Colombia to the United States, significantly contributing to the cocaine drug trade that flourished in the 1970s and 1980s. Murder. She was implicated in numerous murders, with charges relating to her involvement in the killings of rivals, suspected informants, and even associates within her own organization, showcasing her ruthless approach to maintaining power and control over her drug empire. Racketeering. Blanco faced racketeering charges, highlighting her role in conducting illegal business practices and engaging in organized crime activities as part of the Medellin cartel. Conspiracy to commit murder. She was also charged with conspiracy to commit murder, underscoring her participation in planning and ordering hits on enemies and obstacles to her drug trafficking operations. Her trial was a significant legal event, given her notoriety and the severity of her crimes. The verdicts against her were substantial, reflecting the gravity of her offenses. Sentencing. Blanco was convicted on multiple counts, including drug trafficking and conspiracy, leading to her being sentenced to more than a decade in prison. Despite the numerous murder charges and her notorious reputation, difficulties in securing witness testimonies and concrete evidence in some cases led to a focus on her drug-related activities during the trial. In the early 2000s, after serving her sentence, Blanco was released from prison due to good behavior and technicalities related to her case. The final years of Griselda. After serving a reduced sentence for 3 murders, Blanco was deported back to Colombia in 2004. She attempted to retire from a life of crime, but her past eventually caught up with her. On September 3, 2012, Blanco was assassinated in Medellin, Colombia, the city that once served as the heart of her vast cocaine empire. Her death was not just a closing chapter to her own life, but also a poignant symbol of the violent world she helped create and dominate. Blanco was shot by 2 gunmen on a motorcycle, a method of assassination known as a motorcycle hit. This method was eerily reflective of the very tactics that she is credited with popularizing during her reign in the cocaine trade. It's reported that Blanco herself had ordered numerous hits carried out in this manner against her enemies, making her diath a grim full circle from the life she led. At the time of her assassination, Blanco was 69 years old and was reportedly living a relatively quiet life compared to her heyday. She had been shopping with her pregnant daughter-in-law in a butcher shop in Medellin when the attack occurred. The gunman's bullets not only ended Blanco's life, but also marked the end of an era that was defined by the brutal efficiency of her criminal operations. The Black Widow's legacy. Blanco's legacy is a complex one. Her innovative drug trafficking methods significantly impacted the cocaine trade, setting a precedent for future operations. The violence that marked her tenure contributed to the infamous cocaine cowboy wars in Miami, reshaping the city's history and its approach to drug enforcement. Griselda Blanco's life story has fascinated the public and media alike, inspiring books, films, and documentaries that explore the depths of her criminal empire and the mind behind it. Her portrayal in popular culture serves as a grim reminder of the realities of the drug trade and its consequences. Griselda Blanco's story is one of unparalleled ambition, ruthlessness, and eventual downfall. Her impact on the drug trade and the cities she operated in remains a cautionary tale of the costs of crime. As we reflect on her life, we're reminded of the ongoing challenges in combating drug trafficking and the importance of crime prevention. If you found this journey into the shadows of Griselda Blanco's world as intriguing as we did, don't forget to hit that like button. Your support helps us uncover more stories buried in the depths of history and crime. Leave us a comment below with your thoughts or any mysteries you'd like us to explore next. And if you haven't